So before we go into the actual programming MIDI acoustic drums today, I want to talk about programming one-shots, just to make the point that you don't need drum plugins if you don't want to spend that money. You can do it with, as you can see here, I have a beat, I will play it, and everything here is just samples that I cut from a loop. I'll play you first the loop, like the original drum break, and then I arrange them in the arrangement view to get that type of sound, that acoustic drum sound, but still sound nice and fat because of the original drum loop. So let me first of all click right here. If I go into the waveform, I'm going to click here. It's going to take me to the browser. This is the original drum loop. Okay, and I think there might be some other, here I use the clap, and let's see if this is a different drum loop. Yeah. So as you can see, these drum loops have moments where I can take them, the audio track, take them and take only the hat, for example, only the cymbal, only the snare, and so on and so forth. You can, of course, also load them in a simpler, put it in slice mode, and then you already have it sliced. You kind of made your own drum kit from those one-shots. So here I combined, I think, a few different here, this hat I took from here. And this mute snare roll I took from here. I guess that snare, okay? So I took from, same library as you can see, it's from one break library. But again, I just want to make the point, you don't need drum plugins, although that's what we're going to focus on today, but you don't really need them if you don't want to spend the money and just use breaks and one-shots, although there's a lot more depth and articulation and expression that we can access with the drum plugins. Let's just check this out. Let me just play the drums. Okay, awesome. So again, one-shots are amazing, or using simplers in slice mode. But it doesn't give us really an access to a full expressive, real sounding acoustic drum kit. And that's where all those drum plugins come in hand. Thanks, Dennis. All those drum plugins, because the drum plugins are multi-sampled instruments. That means that the company that made them went, for example, just the snare and recorded the snare 10 different times with different velocities, different strength hits. And each hit also was recorded about 4 times, so they can also do round robin. So even if it is the same velocity, it's still cycling between different samples, because the real world have endless variations of everything. You know, the day, the temperature, the moisture, the air pressure, how we hit, the angle, it's endless. So even a hit that is supposedly supposed to be the same hit by the drummer is still ever so slightly different. So even that they recorded 4 times. That's why these good drum libraries, like Addictive drums, for example, or Kontakt, can sound very realistic and give us full expression for our drums. So let me go down, for example, to a snare here. Is this? Yeah, that's the. Let me change it maybe to a different preset here. okay? But here, if I hit the snare very soft or very strong, it's a completely different recording of the snare compared to if I load a drum rack. If I hit it soft and I hit it strong, the only thing that probably only changed is the volume. So that's why these drum plugins can create very realistic drum sound. Beyond that, a lot of drum plugins are much smarter than that. For example, here we can see the mixer, and I think it is also valid for Kontakt in some libraries. But if you can see the kick, for example, if I hit it soft, we get mostly just the kick. If I hit it strong, you see that we also hear the snare bleeding what happened naturally in a room where you record with a lot of microphones. One microphone is on the snare, one microphone is on the drums. Bleeding, like literally like blood, is when some of the sound from the snare mic bleeds into the sound of the drum mic just because you play it loud and they all play together, which is also part of the live sound. So some plugins, commercial plugins like this one, also take that into account, okay? Besides the endless articulations that they recorded the drum sound with, like if I load here, I'll talk about this type of racks later and how to create them, but there's a lot of different drum sounds, okay? I don't even think that's all of them. Drum plugins, again, can just give us more expression when it comes to all of those things. Before we start, I do need to establish something very important with all the drum plugins, although it's slightly different in Addictive drums, but it's very important. Let's, for example, load Kontakt and any drum library, and that's also true for drum racks. So let me load, first of all, Kontakt, and we're gonna go here. Then it's this, Karim Riggins, not Wiggins, Karim Riggins. This is like a drum racks for like really weird, cool acoustic drums. So those can be super cool. But let's go and load like Studio Drummer here. Now, I do want to mention Ableton also have their own drum booth. Like this is their own kind of library that you get just by having Ableton Suite. But it's not the same level. It's not the same level of detail and expression as these. Okay, sweet. So general MIDI. It's very important to just know the concept, understand it, and then it's very easy to use any drum library everywhere. On drum machines, on keyboards, like workstations, and of course in plugins. So general MIDI is essentially an agreement between all the instrument manufacturers that create instruments with MIDI where to place the sounds. Specifically for drum kits, where to place the sounds. They're all, usually if it's general MIDI, GM, you can see right here I have some presets with GM. They're all placed in the same place. If you load the drum rack and you move your mouse over the pads, you can see down here in the command line, you can see the general MIDI suggestion. This is what they recommend, what type of sound should be there. And it's always the same with all the drum plugins. Addictive drums have their own thing, but you can always go and switch it to general MIDI. So that means that if I load any drum library, like this Kontakt right here, I already know, because I'm familiar with the general MIDI, and you should also, I already know where the kicks, where the hats, where the cymbals, and all of that, and they're always in the same place. So right now I'm on, I think it's octave number 1, and the hats are always going to be F sharp here. Okay, I have my MIDI keyboard, small MIDI keyboard here. The kick is always on C1, just like on a drum rack. Snare, rim shot. Here we usually have toms, crash, rides. Okay, open hat. So just to again establish the fact that general MIDI is mapping for the sounds across almost every plugin. It's very important to know that, okay? Especially if you don't create special drum racks likes the one that I made for Addictive drums, I also made one for the Labs free drum library that I will share with you, of course, everything with the video. So that means that if I want to create some drums with this Kontakt, I'm going to create a clip here, Command Option M. Oh, let me loop that. And we're just going to see just a regular MIDI clip because it's not a drum rack, it's not an Ableton instrument. So I'm going to have to know, or to guess, but hopefully know, where are all the drums. And usually it shouldn't be a problem because you're going to start getting used to more and more, if you're working with drum plugins, where are those drums? They're always, again, general MIDI, so you'll know. But, and I think some of you are already using this hack. I have a hack that I shared even some drum racks with it. And by the way, this hack, made me get for... I did a video on Instagram with this hack, and I kind of jokingly said to Addictive Drums, the company is called XLN Audio, please sponsor me, like half jokingly, but full seriously. And they did. So that's how I got all the... I used to already have some Addictive Drum stuff, but I got all the plugins, I got all the Addictive Drums libraries, just because of that one video I showed this hack. So this hack is this, and you can make it to any drum plugin. You can make your own. I made ones for Addictive Drums, for the free drum labs, and I think I have even one for MT Power Drum Kit. It's a free plugin, and for Kontakt. I might have for Kontakt. If I find it, I will share, of course, everything. So essentially what this means is I can fool Ableton into actually showing me the drum sounds of the plugin and their names, so I don't have to just guess according to general MIDI. Because once you go beyond that, I don't remember, all of this, splashes, crashes. These are already unique to the plugin. Right, drum rolls, all of that. So what we can do is we can group the drum plugin into an instrument rack, open up the chain list, and drop a drum rack right here. Let's drop a drum rack. Okay. Now I'm going to drop another drum rack in the first pad, and I'm going to delete the actual... That's kind of like a hack, yeah? I'm going to delete the actual drum rack, but it's still going to give me this, so I can rename this kick. Now I'm going to copy this with Option. I'm going to drag it here. I'm going to call it rim shot. I'm going to drag it here. I'm going to call it snare. And so on and so forth. I'll show you the finished product. But now if I look at the MIDI clip, because it's layered with this drum rack, the drum rack will take priority and will only show us the pads that have something on. They don't have anything, but we fooled Ableton into thinking they have something on them, and it will show us those actual drum sounds. So that means that if I load, for example, I think I already made that one for Labs. Here we go, Labs drum. I'm going to load this, and this is the Ableton preset that already have the plugin and the drum rack with it. Let's give it a second. This is a free plugin, guys. You can download this one, which is recommended because it comes with a lot of different sounds besides the drums. But now if I go inside the clip, you see, we don't have to guess what are the drum sounds. It's already there. Everything is already there. So you can make for your own drum plugins. The drum libraries in Kontakt might need each one its own, like they might be slightly different. So maybe make one for each drum library, and then you can just load it, and it's already loading up also with the library inside Kontakt. So you don't have to load Kontakt, load the library. It's already in one Ableton preset. So highly recommend making it for if you're using those drum plugins consistently. I have one that I always use for my Addictive drums, and it's always there. I load it, like I use it a lot, so I load it a lot in a lot of projects. So that's just a hack to show us the general MIDI, or just one note about Addictive drums. Addictive drums by default have their own mapping, and right here you can go under MIDI mapping, and you can change it from AD2 standard, Addictive Drum 2 standard, to general MIDI if you want them to behave similar to all the other plugins. Okay, you don't have to. You can also use their mapping. I have, you see, general MIDI, extended, and their own regular mapping. So whatever you want. Okay, sweet. Just want to establish that. Let me know if there's any questions on that. Let's start talking a bit about the actual drum program. Yes, Nisi, please.
Question. For all those 4 of your saved presets, you're only hearing the company's rack. You're not hearing the one you used in the hack.
Yeah, so the hack one, it's not really a drum rack with a sound. It's an empty drum rack. All of these pads are empty. They have nothing on them besides a name, besides the label. So I kind of fooled Ableton Live into thinking there is something on the pad. There's actually nothing there. It's just a label. So the MIDI clip will show us the name. It's like a hack for instead of seeing MIDI clip just with regular notes, we'll see a MIDI clip with names of the drum sounds. So yes, it's just the actual plugin with the drums. There's nothing else on it. Unless you want it. So just to expand on that, I do have, you see here, I have one rack that is the same thing we just saw. It's Addictive drums, the empty drum rack just to show us the MIDI clip names, but also Kontakt for layering of sounds. I'll show you later, so we can make our kicks and snares and hi-hats a bit more interesting, or toms, or just get some other drum sounds that are not conventional. But yes, the drum rack itself, it's nothing. It's just to display. Okay. Okay, sweet. I guess before we even go to put some drums on music, I have prepared some projects today. Let's just start from scratch and talk about some basic stuff, okay? If you guys don't mind, let me start with Addictive drums. We'll talk about the program in itself, and then maybe we can use also some Kontakt stuff. Okay, I'm gonna go and load my own presets, just so we have something, maybe this, to work with. And Addictive drums, just in all those drum libraries, especially the Addictive drums, BFD3, Superior Drummer, those really like deep plugins that you can do a lot. You can go and you see create each drum sound. You can go and start manipulating the sound and sound designing your own. Overheads is the room mics. I'm sorry, is not the room mics, the mics that are on top of the drum kit. We have a mic that is somewhere in the room. And we even have like I'm not using this right now, but just like a group bus that everything is bussing into there. We can add more effects. So it's super highly customizable. That's why I created my own presets here as well. But each one of these pack of sounds comes with its own preset as well, which are all awesome. And by the way, I just want to mention, all of these drum libraries, Kontakt, Addictive drums, all of them also come with a lot of MIDI clips, a lot. So if I go somewhere here, let's go, and I'm gonna load, let's say right here, this, see, and then I can play this. Let's go maybe like Studio Pop. So then I can take this and just drag it here, and I have a MIDI clip. And there's so much to learn from all those MIDI clips. And even in Kontakt, you have a lot. In Kontakt, in fact, you see, I have them separate. Did I do that, or did I download it from online? Well, you can see, these are all from Kontakt. I think I took them from somewhere on my computer. Right, and it's general MIDI, so it should work if you have your drum plugin on general MIDI. So don't ignore those the MIDI clips for using them in your music, or simply just learning from them all those different grooves and stuff. Because we're gonna talk more about modern jazz R&B stuff today. Maybe, you know, derivative out of it, but I'm not gonna but I'm probably not gonna do like Motown beats, which here you can hear, where is it? Vintage Dead. What? Yeah, Vintage Dry. Where's the Motown stuff? You know the beat. It's like super classic. I don't know where to find it. but we'll see if we have time.